Hello and welcome to my presentation. I have chosen the topic of Scientology because I think it's really interesting, and I think a lot of people don't know too much about it. So I want to preface this first by saying I'm no expert in Scientology and there is a lot of information on it. So if I get a few things wrong, I apologize, but this should hopefully be mostly right and give you a good idea into what the church is all about. So first, to understand the Church of Scientology, you got to understand a little bit more about its founder, Mr. L. Ron Hubbard. Hubbard was born in 1911 and has died in 1986. He's been dead for about 30 years, and since that time, I think Scientology has gained a little more prominence, partly due to things like celebrities and other groups promoting it. But L. Ron Hubbard, his first major events in life is he served in World War II, actually on Navy ships, and he actually led two of these ships, but was said to be unfit to lead by his superiors. After that, he became a science fiction, or specifically fiction writer, but mostly science fiction, writing this book here called Buckskin Brigades as his first book. At one point, I'm not sure if he still does, but at one point, L. Ron Hubbard held the Guinness Book of World Records for most science fiction novels created. It's pretty interesting. So anyway, he created this book called Excalibur, which we'll talk about, and this psychological science, I guess you could call it, of Dianetics, which is a core part of the church, which we also will talk about. But one thing about L. Ron Hubbard is he really wanted to make history. And this quote here explains that well. He said, "I have high hopes of smashing my name into history so violently that it will take a legendary form, even if all books are destroyed." I think this quote gives a good idea into his mindset, maybe when creating Scientology. So Excalibur. This is the book. This is L. Ron Hubbard's first religious book, I guess you could say. L. Ron Hubbard, during a dental procedure, quote, died for 8 minutes during it. And during that time, he received inspiration in which he would write this book. It is an early version of Dianetics, and L. Ron Hubbard has quoted it to be more impactful than the Bible, or he wanted it to be. But despite that, he couldn't find anyone who would publish it, and later would claim that anyone who read it would die, go insane, or commit suicide. There's actually a story of L. Ron Hubbard trying to get his book published by a New York publisher. He went back to the publisher later to see what they thought about it, and was told that the person who reviewed it broke the window and committed suicide after reading it. But this book would later become part of Scientology mythology. This is a quote from the book. It says, "All life is directed by one command and one command only: survive." It's a pretty intense quote, so maybe that's why people did what they did after reading it. I don't know. Okay, so getting into Dianetics. This is the core. It's not a core of the church, but it is a big part of what they do. Dianetics, it splits the mind into two parts: the analytical mind and the reactive mind. Now, the reactive mind is what they focus on. The reactive mind is what holds your trauma, your pain of past lives, pain that you've gone through in this life. And they use a system called auditing to get rid of the reactive mind's trauma and achieve a status called clear in the church. Once you've achieved clear, it's said to cure you of all illnesses, such as ulcers, asthma, arthritis, and can even increase your IQ and give you a photogenic memory. So some big claims. To do this, they do a process called auditing and use a machine called the E-meter, which is right here. The E-meter is said by itself to do nothing because they tried to get it patented as a scientific machine, I guess. And during that time, the scientific patents would not deem it to do anything, and the church has since admitted that it does nothing physically. It's for spiritual purposes, but they use it in these auditing therapy sessions, I guess you could say, to find the past trauma in people's lives and remove it. So now let's get into core Scientology beliefs. This person right here is Xenu. Xenu is an intergalactic ruler, and I will get more into the next slide. He rules a group called the Galactic Confederacy, which is a large confederacy of aliens and planets, and they rule outside of Earth, obviously. But they a long time ago, in the beginning of Earth's story with the Galactic Confederacy, you could say, Xenu took his people, called the Tegeac, and gathered them around volcanoes and destroyed them with hydrogen bombs. And these Tegeacs thetans, which are basically the souls, which I'll talk about more in a second, these thetans spread out, and from their grief and from their sadness, they adhere to us humans today and cause us spiritual harm. So that is part of what the auditing process does, is it removes these harmful Tegeac thetans and helps clear your soul of not only your own past trauma and lives, but theirs as well. So the thetan, or thetan, is the immortal soul. It's not exactly the same as a soul, but it's said to be capable of anything, especially after you go through Scientology's levels, pay them a lot of money to get even to the position or the level of clear. It can cost up to $200,000, so quite expensive, and they can make you retake the courses if they deem that you have not reached the status of clear yet. But after you reach clear, you can take these, what they're called, operating thetan courses or levels. These operating thetan courses are what you can truly reach the true power of your thetan soul, because the thetan is said to have infinite power, but right now it is bound down by other forces, being on Earth and whatnot. There are 8 levels now, but the church has claimed that there are actually 15 levels, but they don't exist as of now. They have used this to get donations from members to find the new levels, but none of them have been found so far. That's a bit of criticism towards the church. And each level can cost about $2,000 to $10,000, depending on how high and depending on how long it takes to do the levels. So the first level of operating thetan is to get a fresh mind, to get ready. Basically, you get ready, get prepared to start taking and learning the truths of Scientology. Level 2, you get rid of past incarnations, incarnations, and allow yourself to confront the truth. Next, level 3, this is where the members of the church learn about Xenu, the Galactic Confederacy, and the Tegeac. It's said this level is very dangerous. They call it the Wall of Fire. Level 4 rids you of any drugs or poisons from your spirit that have been impacted on your human body, that are impacting your thetan. Level 5 is called the Second Wall of Fire, and is said to deal with living lightning, which is the very stuff of life itself. This is the last check that they do before you learn the ultimate truth. Level 6 is simply training for level 7 and eventually level 8 because they're so intense. Level 7 is a long process of home auditing, which you do by yourself and can take a large amount of time to do, and it's ultimate training for level 8. Level 8 is only given on this boat right here. It is a Scientology cruise ship that they resolve only for this. There are actually 2 versions. The first version gives a doomsday prophecy in which the Galactic Confederacy and Lord Xenu will come back and enslave humanity telepathically. And in this version, L. Ron Hubbard is going to come back as a messiah figure and save us all from happening. But that level in the beginning, that version in the beginning was not very believable to the members who first took this course. So since then, they've actually revised it. And now it is a first level to the ultimate sort of courses, you could say, in which you truly get your power back as a thetan. Beyond operating thetan levels are the cleared theta clear. And this quote explains it. I'm not going to read this quote completely. You can pause and read it if you'd like, but this is the level that after you take the operating thetan levels, you will reach. Because the operating thetan levels are not completed yet, you can't actually reach this level, but if you could, that is what would happen. I've made this diagram here. If it's a little confusing, but hopefully it explains it well. This is a person joining the Church of Scientology. First thing you do, take the audits to reach clear, costs lots of money. Next thing you do the OT levels or operating thetan levels, get money, and eventually reach the ultimate status of cleared theta clear, which you have the power to do pretty much anything you'd like. Scientology today is led by, it's a different person than L. Ron Hubbard. I can't remember their name, but There are many celebrities that have claimed by L. Ron Hubbard, such as Tom Cruise. This is their compound in California, and that's my presentation basically. I hope you enjoyed it. That is Scientology.